Good morning. Get ready with me. This is my first, maybe second, I would say, video that I'm going to include in my podcast series. I don't know exactly what I want to say this morning. I don't have that much time, actually. I only have a couple of minutes while I get ready, but they don't have to be long. And I'm telling myself they don't have to be perfect, because if I wait to do something for when I think that it's perfect, or perfect timing, or perfect lighting, or perfect outfit, or perfect what the hell ever, I'm never going to do it. So here I am, I'm gonna do it right now. I've had a lot going on recently, and I hate saying that because it feels like everyone has a lot going on. I know everyone has a lot going on. And who am I to be like, my problems are so big, they're more important than everybody else's, and everyone should listen to me about my problems. That's why I go to therapy, because I pay someone to do it, so other people around me don't have to. Well, actually, I don't pay for it. I'm very grateful to have help paying for therapy, and also EFT tapping therapy. I digress. I yesterday found out grimly that most likely my visa is going to get rejected. So all of the time that I've spent living in the Czech Republic, since July, to train for a job that I got in May and moved my entire life across the world for, which isn't foreign to me. It's not strange to me. It actually is foreign to me. But I have done this many times now. I move all the time, and in fact, I prefer to move. I prefer to change, and I prefer to adapt to new challenges, and I like doing things like this. I've had this same makeup palette since 2016, when my mom got it for me when I first ever started wanting to get into makeup, and I kind of never really used it since then. And now I'm like picking it back up and finally starting to see holes in some of them, so it's kind of funny. Anyways, so yeah, my visa is likely going to get rejected. I went to the consulate in Dresden. I went all the way from Prague to Germany, 2-hour train, stayed the night, woke up, had my visa appointment, got told to my face that my paperwork was wrong, and basically looked at like I was the stupidest person on the entire planet, which, you know what, to her point, she was right. I couldn't answer half her questions. She was like, so you're gonna work for 12 days in December when your visa hypothetically does get here? And I was like, yep. She was like, I don't know, ma'am, that seems really suspicious and weird. I don't like it. And I was like, I'm sorry. I don't know what to say. Anyways, I'm not gonna retell this entire story. I am gonna tell you what you can do. Well, so afterwards, I FaceTimed. What is on my actual clothes right now? That's really weird. So afterwards, I FaceTimed my family, and one of the first people I called was my grandpa and my grandma. And my grandpa was able to talk. My grandma was napping, but he always gives some really good advice. And, you know, I'm very close with my grandpa. I'm very close with both my grandparents. I think that anything they say, I really take to heart, because they have so much lived experience that, like, you know, people say respect your elders and all of this sorts of thing, but I don't think they would necessarily want me to say that. I think, like, they just have so much lived experience that, like, they just are right time and time again. And so I've just learned to listen to them. Like, there's things that change with the times, and there's times where they, like, maybe don't have the most up-to-date information, but I really do listen to them, like, through and through for most things. Anyways, my grandpa was saying, like, over and over again, this was the message I got from both my parents and my grandparents, like, don't let it worry. He said, don't you worry your little head about a thing. It will all work out. It will all be fine, and maybe there's a better reason for this that we're not aware of yet. And I was like, yeah. Because that's genuinely what I believe. And so hearing it from him was a little bit, like, crazy, because I didn't know he would feel the same way. Like, it's easy to get into this, like, wallowing pity, self-pity party and be like, wow, this is worst case scenario, which I've said multiple times. I said, this is worst case scenario. It literally could not have gone worse for me, which isn't true. There are many things that could happen, but that haven't, so it's pointless to talk about hypotheticals. Anyways, I was just thinking, like, part of my job, my entire job actually, is advising students, and I have told them in our workshops many a times. We actually did an activity where I had them list 10 things that they know they have no control over this semester, and 10 things that they can control. And we talked about how it's so much more important to focus on the things you can control than those you can't. And also, you can never control being homesick or like feeling certain things, like they just arise, but you can control how you react and what you do with those thoughts, feelings, and how you shift your actions based on them. And I am sitting here in a tough situation that I didn't expect to be in, that I have no control over. So sitting here and wallowing in self-pity, while it's important to get out my emotions, like it's not lost on me that I should still like grieve, because you can't bury your emotions with false positivity. This has to be like a real, like a genuine thing. You can't just like say, oh well, I'm fine, like everything's fine, when everything is clearly very much so not fucking fine. Obviously, like it's not fine. It's good to acknowledge that you have those parts of yourself that are not doing well, but you have parts of yourself that is able to see the positive, the silver lining, that I do get to go home and see my family, that I am grateful to like get to see them and experience fall in Wichita, which I love a lot. Like I love that time of year there. Anyways, so I advise my students to not worry too much about the things they can't control, but focus on how they react to those things, and then in turn they are creating their own reality in a way that they can be proud of, and not one that they feel like they're just leaving up to like fate to control. So now I'm trying to take my own advice and do the same thing, because I am still grieving a huge loss. This work is extremely demanding and mentally taxing, as anyone in higher education or education would tell you in general. And I feel like my colleagues and I were just starting to see the benefits of the hard work that we put in at the beginning, and also now we're not going to get to see the full benefits of it at the end, as in like how they progressed and grew and changed over the semester. Like we're not going to get to see that, which gives me chills and makes me a little nauseous thinking about, because I love these students and I love this job, and the reason I do what I do is because study abroad for me was so life-changing that I want to instill that ability to like create your own path and lead your own journey in life, and study abroad and like have it change your life through your own actions. Obviously, that's why I do what I do. That's why I took this job. I didn't take it for the money. I mean, money's great too, but I don't get paid. And this is another conversation. If I were to act the wage that I get paid, this would be a very different company, because anyways, circling way back. I can't control what's happening to me, but I can control how I react. And this may seem like a pretty basic message, because I've heard it 1,000 times and I've said it 1,000 times, but I don't know if it is so basic, actually. I feel like every time, like all life is just being reminded of what you already know. And there are times when you just lose sight of the message that got you through a lot of your hard times. Like you just forget things sometimes. You're like, oh wait, I used to do XYZ, and that was like why my life felt so good at the time. And when I stopped doing that because I got sick, or because I got busy, or because I forgot, like things got rough. And so I just want to remind people to like, sometimes it's not about learning new information all the time or trying to control your outcomes. It's just about remembering what you've already learned and digging into your past to try to find things that like have helped you before. Like, don't reinvent the wheel. You know what I mean? Like, just sometimes it's about refollowing what has already worked for you. Try things again, and stop trying to control situations that you can't. Focus on how you react to them. Anyways, that's my TED Talk. Thanks for coming. Got my jewelry on. Did some makeup. This is crazy. See you guys later. Maybe back in the US soon. So, cheers.